Thanks for voting for me, Aiden. That felt great.
I did.
Yeah, I know.
I was tricked.
Yeah, you were. I love you, Aiden.
I love it.
Just so you know, you guys aren't very good at lying over text. Your texts definitely were different over the last couple days.
In what way?
What? I mean, I don't know, just the vibes. The vibes were off. They weren't. I mean, Aiden, I voted with you like 7 times, and
You did?
this was different. So I kind of knew, and I was able to throw something together today that I think me, Dom, and Rachel found something that worked for us, I think.
Word.
So
That's good to hear.
And oh my god, that was the worst fucking. I feel so bad. I love Meg.
I love Meg too. Me too.
Like,
Me too.
I think she's like the purest of heart, but she's also
A threat.
such a threat. I cannot believe that I pulled off saving myself, but god, I've never felt fucking shittier. Like, Meg, you are the best. I don't know. It sucks. But it was me or you, or I guess Henry could have been, but I don't know. I'm pretty proud of the way that I was able to tell you, like I was able to make you go away from your alliance by telling you true information about what they were telling me about voting you out. Rachel, I was able to sort of use my hey, I saved you last week, and kind of try and make her feel important in this game, right? I let her make the decision between Meg and Henry, right? That sort of. And then Dom, I was able to, I think this one wasn't really up to me. I think he was just so threatened by Meg. They've played such similar games. But as shitty as it is to say, I think I really stepped up, saw that it was likely going to be me, and was able to shake things up, target what Meg was afraid of, make Rachel feel important, and really, save myself. As shitty as it is to vote you out, Meg, this is a game, and this is how I'm staying in the game. This is how I stayed this week, and I hope with Dom and Rachel I built that up to stay another week and another, hopefully.
Alright, Assassin Challenge Day 1 update, Final 5. We stay strapped at all times, but I literally could not need this gun less. This challenge is great because it forces everyone to basically throw out their cards as far as who they're working with. And I do not feel endangered in the slightest as far as this challenge goes.
Okay, so this is everything that I know about Henry's daily schedule as of 12:25 on Wednesday. So I know that he lives in Vilby 46 with members of Sig Chi. I know that he has class in Rice 261 from 10 to 10:50 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and in White Gravener 213 from 5 to 6:15 on Tuesday and Thursday. And I know he hasn't been to water polo in weeks. So Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, I wait until 5 o'clock on Thursday to get him. I'm considering doing a little stakeout tomorrow morning outside his Ville B as well. Yeah, I would love to get him sooner rather than later.
This is my first time leaving my dorm since the game started. I'm like looking everywhere. Like somebody's about to be pulling up on me. Very terrified.
Okay, so I was gonna leave and go get dinner with my friend Alexandra, but my roommate told me that Aiden is camping outside my room, so I guess I'll just be waiting here. I'm kind of stuck, and Dom has class until 6:15.
I think the only way I go out this vote is if Aiden was truly mad enough about the last vote that he tells Matt that I'm going for him, and it's like him, Henry, Aiden decide to vote me out, which doesn't make sense for two reasons. One, I don't think Henry would do that because Henry's very, very adamant on Matt. Like, Matt has to go. And number two, my decision last night, I think the big reason why I did it was one of the big reasons why I did it was it kind of let me stay in the middle and kind of broke apart Aiden and Matt. So now Matt doesn't trust Aiden at all because Aiden just voted for him yesterday. So why would he trust him here when they're trying to cause chaos? So I think that decision that I made last night to vote on Meg worked perfectly because now I have the option going forward to like make whatever decision I want.
Gotcha, baby. I got you. That was pretty good, wasn't it?
I knew I should come up the back. I knew I should come up the back staircase.
We're out here camping. We're camping. Look whose room is right there. That says Rachel M. What are we gonna do to Rachel M? We're gonna shoot her.
Basically, Aiden, Henry, and I made a truce. We take out Matt. None of us target each other. Rachel and I roped Rachel in on that this morning. I'm like, us four just work to take out Matt first. Then it can be free for all. Matt gets taken out. Great work by Henry, and then as soon as Matt gets taken out, he texts me, oh, Henry's coming for you now. By the way, your Google Calendar is public. I knew where all your classes were, which just like, I didn't know you could do that. So he's operating at a pretty high level in this challenge. So I'm really glad I got taken out first because otherwise I was...
Okay, so the plan is I like go out right now or something. I call the elevator. Okay. This is gonna take a while, right?
Yeah.
And then as soon as the elevator doors open or whatever, I'll like text you.
I'll be ready. Yeah.
And then you just like bolt down the stairs to the 7th floor, and then I'll keep the doors open on 7 for as long, and then I'll wait for you to. You go in the elevator.
Wait, so you're taking the elevator down to 7?
Yeah, and then you bolt down to 7, and then we go to the elevator.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so Rachel, as far as she knows, I think right now it's basically, she's basically thinking that it's like every man for himself. Maybe Aiden and Henry are working together, but Aiden and Henry think that it's us three working together, and we just need to take out Rachel. And I'm sitting here trying to be as neutral as possible because I do not want to pick a side. That has been my entire thing for the last 2 votes. Don't pick a side. Open up agencies to continue to make options down the line. We should continue to make choices down the line and have options. So if I can stay neutral, that works out perfectly. Aiden sat outside Rachel's room for like an hour today. Rachel calls me up and is like, oh, Aiden's out here, come take your guy out. And I'm like, I'm in class, I can't do it. I was in class, but even if I wasn't, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that because I don't want to disrupt their...
I got her! That's right! Did you see us outside your room today?
I swear, as the season goes on, these confessionals just keep getting longer and longer. I thought, we get to the final 5, vote is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and there's just continually more and more to say, more and more wrinkles to the game. And yeah, I think today was my best acting performance of the entire season as far as like at the Survivor watch party. So basically, leading up to the watch party, we knew Rachel got taken out, we knew Matt got taken out, and it was us 3, me, Aiden, and Henry left, and us 3 had been like working together. Rachel thinks that we worked together to take out Matt, but then after that was fair game. Matt doesn't know anything of the sort. I go to the watch party, which honestly was probably not my best move, just from like an arrogance standpoint. I show up and Matt comes and he's like, hey, by the way, like Aiden could show up. We need to take Aiden out did you know he took out Rachel? Or, yeah, Aiden took out Rachel. And I'm like, oh, I saw it. He's like, we need to get Aiden out. I'm like, yeah, I agree. Meg is there, Emily's there. And basically the entire time, I'm just talking to Matt. I'm like, he's like, did you know Aiden and Henry are working together on this challenge? Did you know they're working together? And I just sit there and I'm like nodding. I'm like, yep, interesting. They're probably coming for me next. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there texting Aiden and Henry the entire time. I'm like, this is hilarious. Like literally while he's telling me Aiden and Henry are working together, I'm texting them like, oh, let's figure out our plan for how we're gonna decide who wins this challenge. So while that's going on, we're sitting there and I'm basically just convincing Matt that the best play is I need to be able to get Aiden tomorrow. And he's like, I'll tell you all of Aiden's whereabouts. I'll be your shield all day tomorrow. And I felt, I don't need him as a shield because I've given Aiden 3 fist bumps today. Like, it's just so unnecessary. But yeah, Matt has no idea. And then halfway through, this is where things get crazy. This is where my, like, as far as free balling something, what's the term? Free spitballing something, yeah. Henry walks in halfway through, which was a bad mistake. I did not want that to happen because if Henry walks in, everyone in the room knows Henry's targeting me as far as in this challenge. So if everyone knows that Henry is targeting me, suddenly they're like, oh, Henry's gonna be camping outside and we're gonna be able to watch something go down. We're gonna be able to like figure out, watch Henry take you out. So everyone's like, oh, do you need to climb out the window? Do you need to climb out the window? The entire time I'm like, I do not need to climb out the window because I'm not in danger right now. Like I didn't even need to bring my gun today. Like I was so unworried. And I step into the hallway to fill up my water gun, and really I start calling Henry because I'm like, you walked in, everyone thinks you're sitting outside targeting me. We need to figure out what we're doing so it looks realistic. And he sits on the phone with me and we're talking it through, and Matt walks by and sees me on the phone, and I gave him a like nod. I got caught pretty much red-handed. I thought he walked out, saw me on the phone as soon as I like went to fill up my water gun, and instantly I'm like, he knows something's up. That's the worst case scenario because he can't know that like Henry, Aiden, and I are working together to this challenge. So I start panicking a little bit. I sit on the phone, I like whisper to Henry, change tone completely. I'm like, Matt, just heard, we'll talk this through, but I'm gonna have to hang this up. Walk back into the room, and in that like 10 seconds that it took to walk back, I basically tell him, I'm like, I'm trying to pitch to Henry to not get me out, to let me get Aiden first, just to like try to convince him. Then I find out 5 minutes later they didn't even see Henry walk into the room. So basically I didn't even need to throw that out there, but at that point I had thrown out the plan that I had been calling Henry. I walk out 5 minutes later and call him a second time and basically tell him, here's what's going on. I'm gonna act like Aiden is the biggest threat in this game. I am gonna tell you, just go along with this plan. Aiden's the biggest threat in this game. You are not gonna get me out after this challenge tonight because 1, I'm not convinced we can do a convincing enough acting performance that Emily buys it, Meg buys it, and Matt buys it all at once. And then 2, just like for the sake of things, you have to agree to this to say that like Aiden's the biggest threat, you're not gonna get me out, so that we agree that Aiden doesn't win immunity, when really that doesn't actually matter. But the whole point of that is basically, I don't want to end this challenge tonight. I don't want to get eliminated tonight because Matt will, I don't know if we can pull it off. So I head back there and I tell Matt, I'm like, I convinced Henry 100%. So basically I like strong-armed him and I told him that if you get me out right now and you lose this challenge, you're gone 100% because Aiden's the target right now. Aiden's going home no matter what. So the only way Henry's going home is if he loses the challenge to Aiden. That's why I told Matt. That's why I told Matt. I told Henry. This work is really confusing because it's like 3 layers where it's like, I'm telling Matt one thing, meanwhile, I'm telling Henry what I'm telling Matt, and then me, Henry, and Aiden all know none of this is true. So right now, Matt, Emily, and Meg think that the plan, Emily and Meg aren't in the game, but like from a jury perspective, it's interesting. Matt, Emily, and Meg think I told Henry you have to let me get out Aiden. You don't take me out, because otherwise, if Aiden wins immunity, you're gone. None of that's true in the slightest. But Matt thinks it's true, and that's important. Yeah, as long as Matt keeps believing that, that's a good thing. And it was a good strategy I pulled off, and I'm so convinced he bought it 100%. 100%, because it sounds so convincing. It's like, yeah, Aiden's our biggest threat. As long as he doesn't win immunity, we take him out. It sounds convincing, but Matt has to go. Matt has to go. And he's not going to see this one coming. And I think for the second straight time, I've pulled off a vote out of a big threat, but they didn't see it coming both times. Meg didn't see it coming, and I don't think Matt's going to see it coming either, which is ridiculous because Matt has to know he's the biggest threat. So, yeah, Aiden, Henry, and I are just going to be, like, chatting away, figuring out who wins this challenge, but really it doesn't matter. It just does not matter. I think ideally, my goal is Henry wins this challenge. I'll give it to Henry, and then we vote out Matt, and Matt feels good that Aiden's the plan. We vote out Matt. That's totally fine by me. But I'll have to talk to Aiden about it. I'm about to call him. We'll see what happens. I'm happy to, like, draw this out on a whiteboard because I know most of this does not make sense. I'm kind of rambling. It's late. I have been up for like 18 hours at this point. It makes sense in my head, but articulating it when there's like multiple levels of I'm telling Matt one thing, but I believe I'm telling Henry another thing, and then we like know this third level. Like having 3 different levels of he said, she said is tough to visualize without like a whiteboard. So I'd love to draw a diagram. I think tomorrow, if I have free time, I'll get to work and like draw something out, and it'll make more sense that way. But hopefully that made at least some sense, kind of clears things up for the final 5 vote. Matt is almost certainly the target. Aiden, Henry, and I are working together for this challenge. Matt has no idea at all, and it's I pulled it off. I don't want to like toot my own horn, but it went almost too smoothly, like way more smoothly than I was ever expecting today in the challenge, or during the watch.
He's on his way up. He's on his way up. I got you! I got you!
Okay, so that was embarrassing, getting out by Henry so easily, so quick. Whatever. Where it's gone since then, obviously Rachel got out, obviously Henry is now out as well. It's just Dom and Aiden left. Obviously I want Dom to get Aiden out. I want him out altogether. Because yeah, that whole like Aiden and Henry are roommates, mind-blowing. Every conversation I've had with Aiden was a lie. I don't know, that's like the ultimate betrayal, right? Like they've been allies since day one, obviously, and none of us knew it. Good move on their part, but such a betrayal.
So I was just on the RA database trying to find out where Aiden lives, and my roommate texted me and she's like, it's the same one that Henry Jervis lives in. And it turns out they've been roommates this entire time, and they've just been lying to us since day one.
And we're only finding this out in the top 5 after
You saved him.
I saved him twice. You saved him once.
Yeah.
Henry. We've been it's been us 2 and Aiden this whole time. At least we thought. He's been playing us.
And the way Aiden talks is he's like, oh, I haven't talked to Henry yet this week. Like, yes, you did. You went home. Like, and like John says that every time they walk back to Bill B, they like walk in different doors. So like this con that they've been playing since day one.
Meg and Dom both live right there, and they didn't even know.
He knows all of Aiden's roommates and didn't know that Henry was one of them. Ugh.
Every single time where I was like, oh yeah, Henry told me this. Aiden, like, just so you know, like, they were planning that. Like, when Henry showed me his idol, Aiden already knew.
Of course. They probably, like, yeah. They probably found it together.
When I was like, oh, should we go Emily or Henry this week? Aiden already knew. And he was just, like, entertaining me. Like, oh, yeah, maybe
when I
we'll
talked
go
to him
Henry.
on Tuesday, he was like, I'm thinking Henry. And I was like, no, you're not. You're thinking Matt.
That's crazy.
He's just lying. So frustrating. And then he was like, Meg said that we should prioritize keeping Henry. Like, lie. We gotta get him out though, because like I think it's really impressive how they've been lying.
It's so impressive, and yeah, we need one of them out for sure.
All right, day 4 of spending all waking moments consumed by this game, and it's not healthy. It's kind of ridiculous that I've put so much time into this, but it's so fun. I'm gonna look back on this as like the most fun thing ever. So honestly, thank you for letting me on this season to spend like one of the greatest experiences. This is so fun. But yeah, a lot has happened today. Basically, we started off the day with me, Aiden, Henry still in this challenge, and I went to bed last night thinking we'd just hand this challenge to Aiden. I wake up thinking, you know what? Last time an idol was given out was the Survivor party to start the season, kind of, and we have one Friday, so I bet another idol comes out there. I want Henry to win this challenge, so that way he's safe, and if Matt finds an idol, then Aiden would be the one to go home. That's what I woke up thinking. I texted Henry that, and he's like, I'll talk to Aiden about it. I agree, but they said Aiden's not going to budge on this, because the rationale is Henry and I have been together this whole game. Aiden's on the outs. And I think I said that last night in my confessional about Aiden, and was like, that's gotta be BS. I know Aiden and Henry are closer than I am with Henry, but that's totally fine, because it's not gonna come back to harm me. We go through the day. Aiden takes out Henry, and Matt starts texting me instantly. He's like, I just ran into Aiden. He's gonna be in Reese or St. Mary's. We need to plan to get him out. And basically, Aiden and I are throwing this challenge at this point. That's what we had cooked up. So we basically just need Matt and Rachel not to be there and not to see it, because I don't know if we can pull off a convincing enough acting performance. So I text them that, and I'm like, or I text everything Matt and Rachel have been saying. I send it to Aiden and Henry, and I'm like, here's what's going on. We need to plan a way for you to basically like escape from this class early and I never run into you. So that happens. I go to St. Mary's. I think Matt and Rachel go to Reese or Red Square or something, and are just like camping out, looking around, and no one sees him because Aiden's class let out 30 minutes early and he walked out easily, and I was like sitting in St. Mary's. But then, like, this whole time I'm totally playing the middle. Like, Rachel and Matt think I'm going for Aiden. Aiden and Henry think I'm helping them, and honestly at that point I was. And then I just get this like bombshell text from Rachel, and it made so much sense that I can't believe I didn't think of it before, but it was Aiden and Henry are roommates, and that is now common information. Every single person in this game knows that. I can't say I was really shocked. I knew they were close outside this game, but I didn't know they were this close. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know they were this close. So that's, I guess, in the moment concerning, but I think in the long run, this actually helped me, like, a lot. I think this helped me a ton. So my course of action there was, at this point, I know Matt's still the biggest threat. There's no harm in me telling Aiden that I know this, and maybe he'll give me the challenge and let me win, because I can convince him that I'm nervous and will flip unless I get this. So I call him, and I'm like, so his rationale last night was Henry and I have been working together this game, and then Aiden is on the outside, so Aiden needs this reassurance by getting immunity. I call him up. I'm like, yep, I agreed with that last night, but now they know you're roommates. And he pauses me, and he's like, how, roommates? No, we're not roommates. We're not roommates. And I'm like, you're lying. And I'm like, I've seen it on a website. I know it's real. And he sat there, and he's like, what is this website? I'm like, you're so full of shit right now. Whatever. I kind of like laughed him off. Like, I think we both knew that no one was buying that. Yeah, so I'm like, this would provide me more assurance. He's like, after 5 minutes, he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just told Henry, yeah, we are roommates. I just had to make sure Henry was good with me telling you. I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's no surprise there anymore. So we're all on the same page. We know that. And he's like, I understand if you don't trust me anymore and you want to flip on me, but I still think Matt's the biggest threat. I'm like, I agree. Matt is still the biggest threat. However, I don't want to just hand you this immunity challenge, because I think in the eyes of the jury, that would look terrible if I knew that they were roommates and was still willing to hand them the challenge. Maybe it looks good. I could maybe spin it as I was so confident that they're still not going to vote me out. But I think it looks way better if I have this necklace and I'm like, I took control of the game. I had the option to break them up, and they had no power, and I had all the power to make the decision, and I took out Matt. I think that would reflect so well in my game. So We sit there for like 30 minutes basically negotiating back and forth, and we come to the realization, not really a new realization, but the optimal final three for all three of us are me, Aiden, and Henry. It's us three. It's going to be us three. And the reason for that is those two are roommates. They have the same story. They probably split votes. I'm sitting here as the only person who didn't know in that three, who didn't know anyone coming into the game, and I made it here. I did not go along with them at Final Six. I had made my own move, distanced myself, and kept myself firmly planted in the middle to be able to make my decisions to get to the end. And I was not tethered to to Henry and Aiden. So that's my argument if I get to the end at this point. But it looks stronger with immunity because then I was at full control of my decision at Final Five, and I wasn't like, I guess I'll go Henry, or I guess I'll go Matt. I am in full control of this vote. No one's gonna vote me out at the Final Five. It would make no sense for anyone's game. And at the Final Four, it would make no sense for Henry and Aiden to vote me out. And I think Rachel would still want to bring me because I think she'd want to break those two up, even though I think her best move too is to bring both of them to the end. So we'll see. Right now, Aiden and I have agreed we're just gonna battle this out straight up. Whatever happens, happens. And whoever wins this challenge. But we have to make sure tomorrow night at the party, Matt does not find an idol. That would be like worst case scenario. If you're watching this, Kevin, I know you're probably planning up something right now. Please don't do it. I plead of you. It's too obvious that there's going to be a clue at the party. Please don't make it happen. Please just like let us go to a straight up vote in the Final Five. It would be so much more fun for me, for Aiden, for Henry, probably for Rachel. Maybe not for Matt, but like please, no idol at the Final Five. Let us play the like chess match we built up over the last weeks. Let us just like finally resolve it. Please, no idol. Let's have a fun time at this party tomorrow. And otherwise, basically what's gonna happen is I told Aiden that he needs to watch Matt's every move, and I'm gonna tell Matt that Matt needs to watch Aiden's every move, because if Aiden finds an idol and gives it to Henry, then we're screwed there. So as long as those two are basically counteracting each other and watching everything play out, and neither of them finds any sort of clue or idol, we're in beautiful position. And yeah, honestly, as far as a dream move that I can make in this game is if I find the idol tomorrow and win immunity, then I can play the idol on Aiden or Henry, but most likely Aiden, and that'd be awesome. But I don't think it's gonna happen. Anyway, enough rambling. 8 minutes in, I now know Aiden and Henry are roommates. It doesn't change anything. I still think my best bet is to get to the end with both of them. Even there's nothing I could do with this information. There's nothing Rachel could do with this information. There's nothing Matt could do with this information. My best bet is still to go along with them to the final three. Even if I found out last vote, Meg was still a bigger threat. Meg had to go at some point. The only way this would have mattered is to find it out at like the final 8. And even then, it doesn't really matter. But here we are. I'm feeling pretty good about my chances. It's been so much work to get here. All right, 8.5 minutes. All right, it's almost certainly gonna come up futile, but I've been camping out in Ville B for like 20 minutes. We have 50 minutes left. I have no leads to go off of. Matt, Rachel have no clue where Aiden's been. Honestly, I would not be surprised if he's just stayed in his room all day, because you can like sustain yourself in your apartment, so there's no real reason to leave. But one thing I did find funny was, one second. If you see that, Henry and Aiden both took their name tags off their door, which I think was really funny in retrospect. Yeah, you got 15 minutes. Keep camping out on the stairs. If anything happens, I win the challenge. If not, it really doesn't matter that much because I won't be going home anyway. That'll be props to Aiden, so we'll see. This is kind of a pathetic waste of an hour, but what else are we gonna do on a Friday afternoon?
All right, Welcome back, competitors. We are down to our final 5, what will hopefully be a very exciting travel council. Now, I'd love to start off a little bit.
I think everyone at this point knows the secret that has been yet to be revealed out in the public for this whole season. Henry and I are, in fact, roommates. For anyone
Major shocker.
Oh my god.
For anyone that doesn't know, I figure it's going to come up at some point in this tribal, so we wanted to put it out there and confirm it right off the bat.
Wow. Wow. Well, Aiden, I was not going to ask just yet, but you know, you put it out into the open, and here we are. So let's reckon with that. Let's deal with that a little bit. What kind of reaction does everyone have? Matthew, is this news to you?
It was news a while ago. Now it's I guess you'd say old news.
Wow. And does it impact any of the calculations that you're making when you're thinking about alliances, about people to trust?
I mean, it goes to show how much like obviously this sort of secret alliance that they've obviously had since day one. It's clear in hindsight, looking back at the games they've both played. I think they've shown up I don't know. It's one of those Survivor things where it's like it was good gameplay, but really took a chunk out of the trust that people had in them, I think.
Chunk out of the trust that people had in them. Wow. I mean, let's just clear the air over here. How much do you guys think it really affects your guys' gameplay? I mean, is there this secret alliance where you guys like buddy from the very beginning, or have you been playing your own games?
It was always sort of like a mutual thing. Like we would play our own games. I mean, obviously the first half of the game we were on separate tribes, so we were playing our own games, and then we just like promised to look out for each other, which is what happened in the Emily vote. Luck of the draw put it that there were 3 boys and he was the only Saxon, so I had to do what I had to do to keep him in. But we definitely have played our own games, and in terms of the threat level, I think people can understand that if the both of us get to the end together,
Votes are getting split.
the votes are getting split. Nobody's going to know who to choose between the 2 of us. So it might be beneficial for the other people to want us in the end together with them.
Really? Okay. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Dom? Are you sold on that pitch?
It's an interesting pitch. I think it's a double-edged sword. We don't know how the jury's going to feel. Like on one hand, it was pulled off impressively. I think we had some sort of idea that they were close, but no one knew for sure they were roommates until a few days ago. That's an impressive move. On the other hand, it kind of makes the game a lot easier when you have someone you can 100% trust. So balancing that and seeing what's worthy of praise and what's worthy of just being an extra advantage in the game. That's really stuff.
Yeah, I hear your dad over there saying, interesting. No, it's nice. I'm not seeing a lot of anger or frustration or betrayal from this. What do you think, Rachel?
Yeah, I had a lot of, when I discovered that there was mates on Wednesday or Thursday, I definitely felt a lot of anger and frustration, because I felt like I worked to be genuine relationships in this game. Like, the friendship that Matt and I have, I think we built it in the game ourselves, so it feels like that relationship in the game is less Survivor, and I don't know, it seems like an advantage that the rest of them have.
Yeah, like something you worked for is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
I will say though that I think, like you said, you found out on Wednesday. There's been some time for everybody. It's Saturday now. Everybody's had a couple days of figuring it out. So emotions, I assume, are not as high as they were initially. So I don't know if you're going to get as much out of everybody as you're hoping for. For the entertainment purposes.
Okay, you're right. I just want to get the truth from you all. And emotions.
The truth is out there. The truth is now out there.
So, but I haven't heard anything like an apology or anything so far. I mean, do you think, for instance, that you betrayed some of your teammates by not mentioning this earlier? Or I guess fellow competitors might be a better word.
I mean, not particularly. I don't think I ever actually had to be in a position where I chose Aiden or someone.
I disagree. I definitely did. I'm not gonna lie. I like had to make moves against some of my closer allies, particularly this guy, in order to benefit both Henry and I's game. And obviously, the most obvious one was when I had to vote Emily off. So I definitely had to betray people that I did trust and I did not want to betray. But that's the game, and I had to do what I had to do.
I think my plan throughout the game was more try and keep everybody that I'm aligned with in as far as I can. And obviously, Aiden ranks very high in that list, but that is not to say that other people who I've been working with. Well, sorry. You're up there. That is not to say that other people who I've worked with throughout this game, I did not put my life on the line to save. So there's definitely connections that I made here that, well, may not have the longevity as Aiden as we were friends beforehand, they still are equally as strong.
I agree. Also, in addition to like what Rachel said about it being an advantage at the beginning, I mean, there was nothing else we could have done. We've seen examples of everybody else that had previous relationships outside the game were voted out early because of that.
Sure.
And so it essentially came down to, at the beginning when we were applying, Henry and I both loved Survivor, we wanted to play, we both got picked, and then when we both got picked, one of us wasn't going to bow out so the other could do it. We agreed we'll play it by ear. And then when we saw that, like I said, Monty and Caitlin sort of, they knew each other and they were friends because they knew each other. So we had to keep it a secret. It wasn't like we were purposely being malicious. It's just like if we wanted to make it this far, we had to do it.
So what do you think this does to the vote tonight?
It's really not up to us. I think we're obviously a threat now, and I have immunity, so I'm safe, but Henry's obviously a target, and it's up to everyone else to figure out if there are other people that might even be bigger targets than Henry and I at the moment.
Matthew, does this change the calculus for you? I know I kind of asked you that, but I really want to know if it has a direct impact on your vote tonight.
I mean, my sort of track record shows that, like putting it all out there throughout this whole game, it's been Rachel and Aiden have been my top two, right? And it just, I mean, I'm sure this happens to everyone in this game, I guess, but it really hurts when you see that you put your trust in someone that ended up, was lying to you that entire time, kind of thing. Like,
vouching for Aiden, I will say that he was not lying that entire time.
Yeah.
He walked into an apartment that wasn't his every single week.
I'm saying that the friendships, to vouch for my buddy here, the friendships with people whose team he has made along the way were not fake. They're very much real. So for anybody thinking that down the line that this will impact anything outside the game, from living with you and you talking about all these people, that is most definitely not the case. And you could say the same thing.
And you can vouch for this, that you were my number two all along. You
100%.
But just to be clear, there was an effort to cover up the fact that you guys were roommates.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, he went to someone else's apartment every single time after
I went to my buddy's apartment in Vilby after every single challenge.
Wow, that is commitment to the bit, I have to say.
I have trouble seeing like the entire trust and relationship that you have with that. I just feel like it's mostly fake because like every conversation that they have is being just shared with Henry. So I'm like, if your one-on-one conversations are being shared with someone and you don't know about it, how is that a trusting relationship or a relationship at all?
Right. That definitely makes sense. And I'm sorry for all the grief that it has brought some of you. It seems like this has been a bit of a painful experience. Interesting. But I do want to know how this adds to the final three discussion. It sounds like you two are pretty committed to the idea of, and correct me if I'm wrong, to going to final three together. Is that the idea at the moment?
I mean, we told each other that we would play the game and there was a time in which we would have to turn on each other. So, while I don't believe we're at that point yet, we are going to have a couple conversations in the next upcoming days that, I mean, if one of us wants to win the game, someone has to win and someone has to lose. So eventually there's going to be a point where you have to battle it out. But the moment of when that is to be determined.
I see.
So I don't have a particular answer for you when that will happen.
No, that's very fair. Definitely makes sense. And Matthew and Rachel, I know you guys seem to have not confirmed, but you seem to imply that you guys were close, together as alliances, as allies. Sorry. So how does that impact your guys' decision making for who to take the final three? Does this cut these two out completely? Is the final three for you two, so to speak, really just Dom, Rachel, and yourself?
To me, to be honest, yeah. If you would have asked me a week ago before last travel, if you had even asked me an hour before I found out they were roommates, I think there was some room for persuasion for that sort of thing. But I don't know. It's just at this point, I do feel just so lied to that I feel like I can't trust either of them in the game. I think personally, we're still cool, but I think
It's a game.
in the game for sure, I'm not gonna be able to trust you guys. I'm not gonna want to sit on that bench with you guys. I'm not gonna want to, validate the way you guys play the game in that way.
And I've noticed John, you've been a little bit on the quieter side. I actually wanted to ask you how this changes your calculus.
It's interesting for sure because we've seen Rachel list Matt as her tight partner. Matt's listed Rachel as one of the people he trusts most. And obviously we have the roommate situation. So that leaves me firmly in the middle, I guess you could say, as far as deciding what's best for me. I kind of freed that up last week when Meg went home and figured once that happens, we have two pairs, we have me in the middle, and I guess that kind of makes me the decision maker tonight.
Wow, that is a very good point, the decision maker tonight. And Rachel, you were about to say something, sorry.
Yeah, I would say I don't feel as strongly as Matt that I would want to sit in the final three next to a roommate or both roommates. I mean, sitting in the final three comes down to whether you think that the jury has respect for them. I in some ways I've gained respect, and in some ways I've lost respect for their moves. So it's definitely something to think about.
Definitely. It seems like a very smart move. I would say I would probably make the same move, but I can also see where you guys are coming from. Trust is really important in this. But with that, I want to ask a little bit more about trust, because you guys had a pretty difficult challenge right before this, right? That sounded terrifying, essentially. Assassins, right, hunting each other down, so on and so forth. Could you tell me a little bit about that? The paranoia that came
I can tell you something about that.
Sure.
This moron stayed through for 36 hours straight to win the game.
36 is an exaggeration.
No.
26 hours straight that is commitment, and I guess that's why you're wearing the necklace right now.
Yep, that's exactly why. I killed him, and then I had a class, and I got back from class at like 5 p.m.-ish, 2 days ago, and then I was just like, all right, if I camp out until 6 p.m. yesterday, then I win by elimination. So I made a sacrifice. I skipped a party. I skipped hanging out with some people just to make sure I locked up this immunity, considering I would have potentially been in a very precarious position.
That sounds very intense. And what would you say, John? Do you feel like the paranoia was a thing for you at all? The intensity of the game? I mean, does that even compare to how the game has started?
I mean, the paranoia was definitely a thing, but it did come down to me and Aiden at the end, and I had a feeling that he had more kills than me, so that was the tiebreaker as far as when time ran out, whoever had more kills would win the challenge. So I had a feeling that the last day Aiden was going to play very conservatively. I sat outside his room for well over an hour, and not much came of that, but that's the game. He won. Fair play to him.
I was afraid that Vilby was potentially going to get burned down, so that I would have to come out and not be shooting.
I did consider the firework strategy.
I don't think a fire alarm would have got me out, only if the building was actually burned down.
So it sounds like the game has gotten much more intense from the start. Okay, so you guys were clearly learning about each other's schedules, you know each other well enough, a little bit to know each other's routines. I mean, did you learn anything about each other? Rachel, anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of already come up, but I did find out with the roommate situation
That's
with Assassins. So Henry was my target, and I looked him up on the RA database and found out he lived in building 46. And so I was like, yo, ready to stay down there. And then 2 days later, Dawn asked me like if I knew where Aiden was, and I looked at Aiden and I was shocked. He was also listed in building 46. So
Wow.
for sure.
Oh my God, you really used the resources at hand. That is incredible. So that's when you found out. And what was the immediate feeling?
I was impressed, honestly. Yeah. The fact that Aiden went into different building every week, I was definitely surprised by that.
Wow. That sounds incredibly intense. Oh my gosh. Okay, so with that, clearly the results of that challenge are that Aiden's sitting here with immunity. Now, we are done with the final 5. That's the last time immunity idol could be played. Are you guys anticipating staying idol out here tonight?
If it exists, I'm sure it will be played, so we'll find out.
No hints or ideas about who might play one?
I personally have no idea. I'm leaning towards no one has one, but if someone has one, they've hit it this entire time, fair play to them, and we'll find out.
Matthew, what do you think?
The exact same. I don't have anything. I don't think anyone else has anything, but like Mom said, we'll find out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've heard a decent amount about your voting calculus, so I won't ask you, as I always do, how your guys' voting is going to go tonight. But I will ask again, of course, how confident you are about how everyone's going to vote. John, start with you. Leading. 10. Henry?
I'm a question mark.
Question mark. Can anybody give me a number?
I'm a question mark.
How are you feeling right now, Henry?
I'm nervous. I know that I'm on the chopping block, and so it's terrifying to say the least, but we hope for the best.
Is there any regret for what got you here?
No regret.
Leah?
Considering I am not the decision maker here, I think Dom's the only one that can say he's a 10 out of 10. So I'll put myself dead in the middle on a 5.
Incredible. And Matthew?
I think I'm 10.
Wow. So we see this complete turn where the 2 roommates are, I think, the least confident of you 3. But we do see a lot of surprises every single tribal council. This has already been a very eventful one, so I can't wait to see how it's going to go. All right. Time to vote. Matthew, you're up.
As for you leaving,
All right. We've tallied up the votes. And of course, now for the very last tribal council, you can play an immunity idol. Does anyone wish to play an idol? Okay. All right. Our last chance. All right. In that case, it's time to count the votes. Matt. Henry. That's 1 vote Matt, 1 vote Henry. Matt. That's 2 votes Matt, 1 vote Henry. 2 more votes to go. And the 10th member voted out of Georgetown Survivor, as well as the 7th member of our jury. Matthew.
I just want to say, Dom, I played a part in saving you once, but I wished you had it in you to save me.
Well, that was another shocker for the night, and it's clear that you've all made your decision. All right, you're down to the final 4, and now is when things really come down to the wire. Sooner there'll just be 3 of you, we'll go to the jury, and then it will just be 1. All right, take care.
not surprised. I think I knew. It's just people weren't talking to me as much today as usual, you know. And you want to reach out, you want to keep going, but you also don't want to be desperate, I guess. I think it makes sense for Dom. I think the biggest thing I learned in this game was when they say trust is currency in Survivor, they really mean it. Getting rid of people like getting rid of Caitlin first off, getting rid of Emily especially, and then also getting rid of Meg last week instead of pushing harder for Henry. I think all those sort of contributed to it. I think I think that's gonna be my question on the jury. Trust is currency. How have you used trust best in this game? So I'm happy with how I did. I think really the reason why I've been the target the last 2 weeks has been because of how good of a player I am. I totally take it as a compliment. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad I've been doing this, but I'm so glad I get to write my essay tomorrow instead of worrying about Survivor. So I'm so excited to be a jury member. I'm happy. So I'm voting for you, Rachel. I already know if you get voted out next. I have no idea who I'm gonna vote for. So we'll see.